Hello, friends. This is chapter 1. There is no point. That's not me stating that. He's named the chapters in this one, unlike the last one, which were just chapter numbers. These have names, and this one is called There Is No Point. And oh, if you ever needed yet another indication that our subject in this wonderful literary creation was painfully annoying, it's because he says things are painfully annoying constantly. This entire book, from what I've read, and I'm only 2 chapters in, feels as if someone wrote an emo fanfiction, maybe less of a fanfiction and more of a short story, and then decided it wasn't quite long enough, so they duct taped a thesaurus to a baseball bat and beat the ever-loving crap out of it. Yeah, it's so jam-packed with pointless fucking add-ons and words that just don't make any sense that it's just really, really full of itself. This is... Oh, the ego on this is gigantic. I realize this is not a long book, but the ego alone makes it denser than most dying stars. So let's just get into what happens, because so much happens. It's me being facetious, nothing happens, this is incredibly boring. Anyway, we start with him talking about his house, or as he refers to it, a 2-story cliche suburban abomination. So, he's a white emo kid from the suburbs. That's what we've learned from this. How difficult his life must be. My room is painted white like every other room in this entire goddamn country. I don't know, man. I'm looking around my room and I'm pretty sure it's a dark stained wood paneling. It's not painted white at all. That, again, it's me nitpicking, but, yeah. I had to. My father doesn't allow me to tack posters directly to the walls. And no, some people don't, mainly because it's drywall. Okay, this is me going on a weird tangent, but this does seem to be like the kind of thing that he would complain about, so let me just go on this tangent anyway. The reason you're not supposed to tack things to the wall when you have white painted drywall is because the tiny holes that the tacks leave behind would be incredibly obvious. And drywall, if you didn't know, is like a sheet of concrete stuff. It's a powdery like stone. So when it breaks, it just breaks. You have to plaster it. If I pull the tacks out of the posters that I have on my walls out right now, you probably wouldn't notice them because, again, it's darkly stained wood paneling. Yeah, it's very 1975 in here. I like it that way. So, it's just... There is no reason for him to complain about these things aside from just to complain. But complaining to complain is a running theme in this, which you'll very quickly pick up on. He has a dad, which he talked about in the last one, the last video or chapter, whatever you want to call it, about how much he can't stand him and how horrible he is. Well, it's because his dad is a born-again religious vegetarian man, which are all things that Arthur hates. Is his name Arthur? It's Greg. No, his name's Arthur. But it's Greg. It's just Greg. And he hates that and thinks that he's stupid. Now, let me describe to you what his dad has to go through. Let me just describe to you his father in these incredibly basic terms, okay? And you tell me, well, actually, you can't tell me. You could in the comments, but it won't matter because I'm recording this right now, so whatever. You can go ahead and say what you think about this. Jerry is I'd say somewhere middle-aged man, because he talks about how he's losing his hair. So, he is kind of a born-again, I'm not sure exactly what kind of religion, just that he believes in God. His wife passed away, so he's a single parent, and he started going, like, vegan and exercising recently. I don't know how long ago his wife passed away. That's not really explained at this point. Maybe it's explained later. Less. later. Holy shit, I can talk. It's because my brain is melting. And every day, Jerry gets up, he makes his son lunch, he drives him to school, then he goes to work. And we haven't gotten to this point yet, but I assume, given the fact that he makes a joke about how, like, no family member of mine will ride a yellow bus, haha. I assume that means he also picks him up from school as well. And that no family member of mine ride a bus. That's actually a quote. It's in here. So, I don't know about you guys. Jerry sounds like a really good fucking dad. Jerry sounds like a guy who's putting in a lot of extra effort. He went this whole, like, you know, he suffered a trauma and he turned to God. A lot of people do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. And he started doing this whole vegan thing because he wants to be in better shape. He knows he's not as young as he used to be and wants to do all this stuff to kind of, you know, be there for his kid. And he doesn't totally understand, you know, his son's old emo goth thing. But you know what? He's just, you know, sport, you can have the posters, just don't tack them to the wall. That makes 4 holes. What if we put them in frames, and then we'll put them on the wall? That only makes 1. Yes, all of his posters are framed, by the way. He actually does say that. So he does have, like, all these, you know, angsty kind of wall coverings, but they're all in frames, which you don't just get frames. You have to pay for that, which I'm sure Jerry paid for, actually. So, this guy sounds like fucking super dad. Like, holy shit, he sounds like the most invested dad you could have. Meanwhile, we have Arthur over here who's like, he's the worst. Stupid. He doesn't know anything. Is this supposed to be a fucking parody? Am I supposed to hate the main character? Because I already do. He's the worst. So, further into this chapter, because we're not done, further into this chapter, he goes on the weird tangent, extolling the virtues of just not talking. Quote, think about all the people that you think are morons. Think about what percentage of those people you hate because of the things they say alone. That's exactly my point. Without verbal language, how do you start a racist, sexist, or homophobic group? How do you organize a war? How do you cause wide-scale suffering if you don't have language like we have? Verbal communication is key to committing genocide. You want world peace? Stop participating in this pointless social game. Commit yourself to silence. Statistically, you have nothing valuable to say anyway. I hate this kid. I hate this fucking pretentious little shit. Social interaction is one of the things that we, as humans, are hardwired to do. And as much as this guy likes to say that he doesn't talk, he doesn't participate in the social games, let's go down literally to, like, the next couple of paragraphs where he describes this guy, Chris, who he hates, because of course he does. And then he describes this other girl who I'll get into in a minute. This girl, Jessica. But going on about Chris and Jessica, talking about their personalities and how they're, you know, stupid and they don't have anything to add. But if you don't participate in any kind of social interaction, you don't care what people have to say because it's all stupid. Why the fuck do you know this? Wouldn't you just not care? Wouldn't that just not matter? It clearly does, because you took note of it long enough to fucking write it down. And keep in mind, this is not a stream of consciousness from his thoughts while it's happening. This is, yet again, as described in the first part, a journal, which means this is the kind of thing that happened early in the morning, roughly around 7, I'd say, because it's first classes, and if I remember correctly, high school starts sometime around then. I don't fucking know. I haven't been in high school in forever. But early in the morning, and you kept that thought in your head all the way to the end of school, got home, and then had to write in your journal about how fucking horrible it all is. So obviously it does matter to you, and you're just full of shit. Neat. But let's talk about Jessica. Remember his whole thing about how, you know, sexist, homophobic, racist, all these things. They're bad. Because that's how you prevent those groups from starting. You just don't talk. A reading from the Book of Onion. I'm incredibly satisfied with my choice to avoid conversation with others as much as possible. One primary example of people I rightfully treat like the human abominations they are is this big-breasted ditzy girl named Jessica. Really? She has the personality and the looks of someone destined for the pole. Really? In other words, she is the physical embodiment of what every other generic guy on this planet desires in a woman. Thing is, the very same people who desire her would never want her to have children with her. She could never take care of a child, not when she herself has the brain of an 11-year-old with just a hint of princess syndrome. Really? Oh, but it gets better, because immediately after that he goes on to describe what princess syndrome is. And then we get this lovely note. To summarize, add precious, well-endowed Jessica to the pile of people I classify as wastes of space. And this guy wonders why nobody likes him. I had to start a journal to put my thoughts down because nobody understands me. I fucking wonder why. You sound like the worst. Just the worst. No one wants to hang out with you because you're a pretentious, mean-spirited, self-absorbed, narcissistic, egocentric, self-deprecating piece of absolute fucking shit. And this is the first chapter. Oh, yeah. I also want to touch on this because we're not done. Okay, we're not done. He throws away the lunch that his father made for him because he doesn't want that. And then he steals, like, quarters out of some kind of jar. It's a change jar that his dad apparently jokingly refers to as the vacation fund. Cute. To buy the usual ham sandwich. I often ate that with something called a chocolate nutty bar. So, your dad gets up every morning and makes you a special lunch. And you just throw that away without ever basically speaking to him about the fact that you have a different taste. Like, you just want to get something else. I hate this kid. I really do. I really do. And then we get this wonderful note. Dad, Jerry, whatever, you're a moron. On a daily basis you preach about your religion, you're better than me than following it. I don't think that he is preaching to you because he thinks he's better than you, you pretentious little shitbag. I'm fairly certain, and this has happened to me with several of my friends who do believe in religion, they don't preach to you to tell you that they're better than you. They are literally doing it to try and bring you into an understanding of what they believe. It is not an ego thing, it is literally sharing something they find fucking important. This kid is so self-absorbed that the act of someone sharing something that is incredibly interesting and meaningful to them is just, that's just him trying to think he's better than me. You know, I really hope that, I want to hope, rather, that this isn't how Onision really thinks. That this isn't how he actually thinks with his actual human brain, in his actual body. But I know that's not true. And that makes me really sad inside. It's just fucking unbelievable. I can't with this kid. This kid sucks so hard. It sucks so fucking hard. This kid, this book, all of this. his dad sounds like an incredibly nice person who is doing his damnedest to deal with just the shittiest fucking teenager. And he still doesn't let it get to him. From the descriptions that we have so far, I don't know, maybe something will happen later, but from what I hear so far, this guy sounds like the most patient motherfucker on the planet, and he is desperately trying to make things work after suffering some pretty major shit. And then we have this motherfucker who is just being the biggest douche. Just the biggest douche. I don't think I'm gonna call him fucking Arthur anymore. I think I'm gonna fucking call him, like, I don't know, what's that one, Summer's Eve? Some shit like that. He is just the biggest fucking douche. I am so fucking done with this kid, and this is only the first chapter. I don't even know how many chapters are in this book. I know it's not long, which I'm thankful for, because holy shit. But how this... We're not even out of chapter 1, and I can't stand the main character. How did he think this was going to go over? Do people actually like this? Is there anyone who actually likes this book? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll learn further on, but Stones to Abigail taught me one thing, which is don't get your fucking hopes up. So, with that being said, I'll see you in the next chapter, I guess. Holy shit. Hang on. Okay, I love you. Goodbye.